Hello and welcome to the final whistle with me, Daniel Waterson, looking back at Hibs' 1-1 draw with St Johnstone at McDermott Park. Coming up, James Delaney and I discuss the match, Neil Lennon speaks with Hibs TV, and we have post-match thoughts of both Porteous and Oli Shaw. But first, a reminder of all the action with Hibs TV's Cliff Pike and John Stevens.
Was behind him a little bit. Stevie Mallon is under pressure from Watt inside the penalty area. Watt will play this one in. It's deflected into the net. I'm not sure who it deflected in off, John, but it left Ross Laidlaw completely helpless. And after 22 minutes, St Johnstone lead by a goal to nil. Ambrose drives forward into the Saints half, finds Boyle, faced down by Tanzer, finds McLaren, back to Boyle. Boyle does well to find Ambrose. Boyle gets it back, drives forward, whips the ball into the 18-yard box. It's a great ball. Oli Shaw equalises. Great ball into the box by Martin Boyle. It was right into that corridor of uncertainty, John, between the defender and the goalkeeper. Oli Shaw didn't wait. He comes flying in, nods the ball into the back of the net. And 5 minutes into the second half, we're all square. St Johnstone 1, Hibs 1.
It's a fantastic cross in. It's one of those ones that defenders and goalkeepers both hate. Neither of them can really commit to it, but one man can, and that's Oli Shaw. It's a fantastic header. He's had to stoop a little bit. He's not had to obviously generate any power or anything on it. It's from inside the 6-yard box, right at the back post. Oh, it's a fantastic header. Good instincts from Oli Shaw as well.
James, 1-1 draw here at McDermott Park between St Johnstone and Hibs. I think given kind of the efforts put in on Thursday, no really have many complaints with the point today.
No, I think it's an underwhelming performance, but not necessarily a bad one. I thought we probably had enough chances to get more than a point out of this game today. As it is, we come away with 1 rather than 3, and I suppose in the grand scheme of things, given I think everybody's mind is already on Thursday's match, it's not the worst point in the world. At this stage of the season, it's all about just picking up as many points as possible, and one is better than nothing.
Yeah, even after when we got the equaliser early in the second half, I kind of thought at that point, we'll push on now, momentum will drive us forward. We probably should have been in the lead at that point anyway, given the chances in the first half, but it was pretty evident with that last 20-25 minutes there was some tired legs in that Hibs team today.
Yeah, and we talked about sort of our squad depth and the chance for rotation. I think on the podcast on Thursday. You have to remember there's a couple of players in that Hibs team, the likes of Paul Hanlon, Lewis Stevenson, who've just been playing the whole campaign so far. So they're bound to be sort of getting tired and feeling it at this point. But yeah, you could tell there was a few tired legs. There's a few bodies to come in as well who still have to be integrated into the squad. We saw Daryl Horgan come on. Emerson Hyndman made his first start. So that'll come with playing with this squad regularly. They'll get to know each other a bit better, and I think as time moves on, we'll start to see the quality of those players shine through. Yeah,
I think it says a lot that Hyndman played 10 minutes on Thursday, he played for an hour today. Daryl Horgan came on, played half an hour, last half hour. These guys probably haven't had a full training session with the team yet.
Yeah.
So to come in and get thrown in like that, there's been enough from both to show that they're going to be pretty decent acquisitions.
Yeah, Hyndman I thought today looked a good player. I think he obviously still needs a little bit of match practice, and at times I thought he cut a little bit of a frustrated figure because it seemed pretty obvious that the likes of Murray Davidson and Blair Alston had obviously pinpointed him as the man who was going to make things happen, and they kind of doubled up on him at times. But when he did wriggle free and when he did find those little half yards of space, I thought he looked really dangerous. He had a couple of shots blocked, a couple of decent through balls that were cut out, but like I say, that'll come with playing with this squad and learning about everybody's qualities. It just comes with match experience. The same with Daryl Horgan. I thought he looked very busy when he came on, very active. He's always looking for the ball. Looks like he could be a real handful for some defences in this division. But again, he just needs experience of playing with this squad and training with this squad and finding out about everybody's qualities and then using his own to have a bigger impact on the game.
Yeah, I'm struggling to think of. I said it to someone else before the match started that considering this is the second league game of the season, this is as strong a Hibs squad as I can possibly remember. There's just that one gap in midfield that needs filled in, and you feel that obviously fans, we're talking about players like Yusuf Malumbu, Glenn Kamara, Alan Campbell from Motherwell, and you just feel that if you got a player of that calibre or that kind of quality, that this is a tidy starting 11.
It is, and it's odd that you mentioned those names, and it's almost the position that these players play, but you can't necessarily describe it. It's a holding midfielder who doesn't necessarily hold, but is able to go forward and is able to have some influence further up the pitch, but can also be a bit of a physical presence, and they are very rare. The likes of Malumbu, Kamara, Alan Campbell are all very good examples of that. Campbell, I think, is going to have a very big future in the game. He looks like a very decent player, and I think he's only still about 19 or 20.
He really stood out.
Very young.
A game we beat Motherwell at 1-0 at Fir Park.
Yeah, I thought he was excellent.
He was our best player.
Glenn Kamara we saw a few times last year, and I thought always played pretty well against us. Yusuf Malumbu, is clearly a quality player, and has played at a much higher level than he was playing at last season at Kilmarnock. And I think Steve Clarke definitely got the best out of him while he was there. So yeah, it is. I think we probably are just lacking that little bit of bite in midfield at the moment. It feels like we've got a lot of very good footballers, but no real kind of physical presence in that position. But we're still, I think we're on August the 11th, August the 10th, 12th, August the 12th. I knew it was something like that.
Early August.
It's Tuesday, isn't it? But yeah, we've still got a couple of weeks of the transfer window left. I'm sure Neil Lennon and George Craig and the rest of the recruitment team will have a list of targets drawn up, and it's now about working on them and bringing it in. And you're right, I think we are probably maybe one or two bodies in from looking like a very good side. Yeah,
so to take this game back to the beginning, 4 changes from Hibs. In come Stephen Whittaker, Jamie McLaren, Oli Shaw, Emerson Hyndman, who we've mentioned. Flo, Marvin Bartley, Dave Gray, Vikinna Slivka dropped to the bench, and it was an open game. The first half was really open. So a couple of early shots from Matt Kennedy, who I'm sure Hibs fans will remember from the first season of the Championship. A couple of early efforts to test Zander Clark, but I think the first big chance comes when Martin Boyle finds Oli Shaw. His header's very well saved by Zander Clark.
Yeah, Boyle, I thought, gave Scott Tanzer a real torrid time down that right hand side for about the first 15-20 minutes, and it actually forced I think it was Alston who started sort of coming over and doubling up on him, and basically had like a little bit more cover because Tanzer was just getting absolutely nowhere near Martin Boyle. He was burning past him. It's a really nice little ball in, and a good header by Oli Shaw. You can't really ask much more from his perspective.
About 15 yards out maybe.
And it is going right in the corner. It was similar in a way to Linda's save on Thursday for Mulder from David Gray. Clark's at full stretch, and it's a really good save. He had a couple of half decent saves in that game. Zander Clark. He always. It seems like every time we come here, whoever's playing goal for St Johnstone just decides that they've suddenly become Gianluigi Buffon overnight and pull out some fantastic stops. I mean, not that Zander Clark's not a good goalkeeper. I think he is a good keeper by St Johnstone standards and by SPL standards, but that's not what the league's called. I'm going to start that again. No, I'm not even. I'm just going to leave that. You can cut that.
I'll just cut the SPL. I'll find you saying F at some point and just splice it in. So the next chance for Hibs comes with another brilliant solo run from Martin Boyle. He just walks through the St Johnstone defence. He cuts it back. I think it's McLaren that has the effort. It looks to me like it's cleared off the line. Lewis Stevenson hits the follow up wide. Martin Boyle probably could have taken the shot on himself, but when the shot's cleared off the line, I suppose you can't criticise him for not taking the shot on.
No, I mean, and again, it was another example of Boyle just turning Tanzer inside out, and Tanzer had no idea where he was at all. And he was straight into the box, pulls it back from McLaren, and it's a combination of Clark and Stephen Anderson on the line that get it away. Comes out to Lewis Stevenson, which I love you, Lewis, but I'd rather it dropped to anybody else in that position. It wasn't a difficult chance to take, but it wasn't an easy one. It was slightly at an angle, and he just sort of puts it wide. But yeah, I mean, at that stage, it really looked like we were well on top, and it looked like it was just a matter of time before we scored.
Yeah, and from that, as St Johnstone then make the next couple of chances, Murray Davison has an effort that goes just wide, and then the goal itself, Mallon lets the ball bounce in the box and he maybe could have cleared it straight away. Tony Watt picks it up and there's not much to get. I thought it came off Porteous, but it's been given as an own goal to Stevie Mallon. But
it did look like it came off Porteous, and I think it's maybe a case of mistaken identity by whoever's put that down. One of the journalists had asked at half time if it was Mallon that had come off, and I thought it had come off Porteous as well, so it'd be interesting to see that back. But there's not an awful lot that Ross Laidlaw can do. He's kind of committed to going front of his far post, which is where the shot was going. It's just one of those things that comes off Ryan Porteous, and it did seem to sort of take an age to actually cross the line and loop into the net. It's a disappointing way to lose a goal, but at that point, you know, allowed St Johnstone back in the game a little bit. They were showing kind of signs of life, and it was disappointing to concede a goal in that way, but I thought we fought back pretty well.
Hibs kind of just kept going for it at that point, as you would expect. Obviously St Johnstone are happy to drop a bit deeper. The next chance comes Hibs way. Martin Boyle again with the right footed effort. To me it's an outstanding save from Clark. He seems to get to it when the ball's already behind him, and it seemed like the pick of the bunch to me. Even the rebound itself, it just bounces off Jamie McLaren. He has no time to react to it. And then it was just kind of not an onslaught from Hibs, but they had more than enough chances that it was a bit of a travesty. They went in 1-0 down at half time. Yeah,
and you know, it's credit to sort of Xander Clark, who again, you know, made that fantastic save. You're right, McLaren just has no time to react to it, and another day, you know, it bounces off him and goes in the net. Just not today, which is, you know, it's a little bit disappointing for us and maybe a little bit unlucky for us. St Johnstone had their fair share, you know, kind of half chances as well. You know, we spoke about Matty Kennedy earlier. We know what he can offer, and we know the potential that he has. I thought he looked okay at times today. Ray Wright on the other wing, I thought was fantastic. I thought he looks like a really good player. There are an odd sides at St Johnstone, because there's a lot of players you look at in that team where you go, well, they're good players, but it's never necessarily spectacular, and there's a lot of like really solid players in that, and I suppose with the additions of guys like Wright and Tony Watt and Matty Kennedy, it offers them a bit more going forward and a bit more excitement in the final third.
Yeah, they were criticised quite heavily. We spoke about it on Thursday for how deep they played against Kilmarnock last week, but when you've already mentioned Dre Wright looks like a great acquisition for them, caused all sorts of problems. So they've got threats in the wing, and Matty Kennedy has probably the closest St Johnstone come to scoring again in the rest of the game is through him, and it's his curling efforts going into the top corner, and it's an excellent save for Ross Laidlaw. It's
an absolutely fantastic stop. You know, it looks like it's going right in the top corner, and Laidlaw gets up there to claw it out, but you know, it's like we were just saying there, Matty Kennedy and Dre Wright did cause problems when they got on the ball. Wright was giving Hanlon and Stevenson a real game up the right hand side in the first half. Kind of drifted out of the game a little bit in the second half, and the same with Kennedy. But you know, I mean, I don't know how much football the two of them have played over the past season. You know, Matty Kennedy again was one of those players where you always thought the potential was there for him to go on and be a really good player. He showed a little bit of that today with that effort, but fair play to Ross Laidlaw, gets up and claws it away.
More from James and I shortly, but let's hear from Neil Lennon speaking with Hibs TV.
Neil, a tough battle as it always is here at McDermott Park. I think you might be disappointed that we didn't take the 3 points though.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a tough game. I thought we dominated it and missed some good chances. You know, way before St Johnstone scored, they got a lot of good fortune with a goal. It was a huge deflection. And we've played well. You know, we got the goal early in the second half, and I was just disappointed. We looked a little bit sort of lacking sharpness up front, which maybe is understandable. It's Jamie's first run out really, and Flo's still not 100%, but it's probably on reflection 2 points dropped.
Again though, with the way the fixtures are coming thick and fast, you're having to rotate the squad around. You're not really getting a lot of continuity of selection, which might help things as well.
Yeah, we're not getting any work done on the training ground. You know, it's basically game recover. You know, we can't work. I think we had 8 players training on yesterday, so it's difficult, you know, and we understand that. We'd rather be in the competitions than not, but it does make it a little bit fragmented sometimes. And obviously we've had a couple of boys making debuts today as well, who can be, you know, happy, and they will get better as we go along.
Yeah, I thought both Emerson Hyndman and Darryl Horgan looked pretty sharp on the ball.
Yeah, I thought we were a little bit overplaying it first half. You know, I thought we could have made more of the possession we had, and certainly in the second half we dominated possession again. I think the back three, you know, were excellent. I thought Boyle was unbelievable again. So we just need the rest of them to get up to speed with the likes of Boyle. The one we missed first half where it's cleared off the line, that should be a goal. You know, we've had two chances there, and really we should have been 1-0 up, and psychologically that changes the game in our favour.
And it's frustrating the way we lost the goal. Deflection, nothing Ross Laidlaw could do about it, and that did set us back for a few minutes. Yeah,
a bit. You know, I didn't think. I think Ross had to make one really good save, you know, first half. Apart from that, it was all one-way traffic, really. I didn't see us being in any sort of danger, even in the second half. We defended set players that we had to very well. We were in control, but with the amount of possession we had, we should have made more of the ball.
We got back on level terms early in the second half, a good time to do so, and it was a cracking goal.
Yeah, it's simplicity. You know, we didn't overplay it. Boyle puts in a brilliant ball, and Oli gets round the back, and I'm delighted with Oli's contribution at the minute. You know, he's had to bide his time. He was a little bit lacklustre pre-season, but he's really come on to the game, and that's 2-2, so he can be really pleased. And it's an important goal. You know, it's got us back in the game, and like I said, it's disappointing not to win, but the players are giving us everything at the minute.
I said that to Oli, that when he starts, he scores goals, and that can only give you a headache, but it's a nice headache to have.
It is, yeah. I mean, obviously there's aspects of his game he can work on, but no, he's playing well, and he took his goal well, and we just felt to give him a bit of a rest towards the end. It is a balance, very much a balancing act at the minute, and we have to, you know, be careful of injuries as well.
You made 4 changes there. Obviously the game on Thursday night in Molde is a big one for us. Was there any other knocks or anything picked up that you're aware of today, or is it a clean bill of health at the moment?
I think we're alright. It'll just be fatigue, you know, and again it'll be in tomorrow, travel Tuesday, so it's basically a question of getting them in, you know, having them recover as quickly as possible, and get ourselves out there and get bedded in for what will be a huge game for us.
As you say though, we want to be playing these games, we want to be in these competitions, and we've given ourselves a real chance against Molde on Thursday night. A goal across there, and who knows?
Well, we can certainly score goals, and Molde are a good side, and like I said the other night, they're good rotation, good possession. It's a plastic pitch, so it's going to be a little bit difficult for us. Away from home always is in Europe, but there's a lot of belief in there, and of course, you know, a few of them were carrying knocks, the likes of Bartley and Dave Gray. You know, they'll be fresh and ready, and Adam Bogdan as well, although Ross has deputised very well.
As you say, you know, it's always a difficult game, but the boys are picking up a lot of experience from these types of games, and they're learning how to play in them.
I think it's fantastic. I think it's fantastic for the players. I think it's fantastic for the club. You know, maybe we didn't envisage going this far, but you know, we're still very much in it, and the ties and the balance, and there's no reason why we can't go there and win.
From everyone at Hibs TV, best of luck for Thursday night.
Thanks, Cliff.
That kind of seen it through to half time. It's within the opening first few minutes of the second half. Hibs come out a lot more energetic, as is usually the case when they go in a goal down or at half time. And Martin Boyle's deep cross, it's bounces. I'd need to see it back again, but I can't imagine Tommy Wright will be too overly enamoured with his side's defending from it. But it's 2 league goals in 2 games for Oli Shaw, a good downward header to put it beyond Clark.
Yeah, and there would have been a few who looked at the team today and would have wondered maybe why Flo Canberry wasn't starting, even given our exertions on Thursday night. But fair play to Oli Shaw, you know, as long as he stays on the pitch and he keeps scoring goals, then it's going to be very difficult to leave him out the side. It's good play by Martin Boyle, who I thought had a good game today. I think you're right. I don't think Tommy Wright will be too pleased with his defenders, you know, allowing the ball to bounce like that in the box. But it almost makes it more difficult for Shaw. It's coming up off the turf, it's coming at pace. He just has to direct it back into near post, and at that point, you know, Clark's scrambling back across his goal. There's no chance of him keeping it out. Good header by Shaw. Add to a good finish last week against Motherwell. And like I say, as long as he stays on the side and keeps scoring goals, it's going to be very difficult to leave him out.
Yeah, absolutely. We're all talking about Ryan Porteous and how he looks like he's going to be cementing his place in the first team, but Oli Shaw's just doing that as well. You play a striker and he scores goals, it's going to be difficult to do anything other than play him.
Yeah, and I mean, his scoring record must be, I don't know off the top of my head, but it must be very, very impressive for a guy his age. Because he didn't have a lot of starts last season, but he did score quite a few goals.
I said to you, I think it was at half time on the Motherwell game, it wasn't the podcast, but it would be interesting to look at Oli Shaw's stats at his age compared to, say, a Riordan, an O'Connor, a Cummins, because I think at 18, 19 he must have way more goals than even maybe Fletcher would be the only one that would be close to what he's got at this age.
Fletcher kind of came in a little bit earlier, didn't he? He was about 17 when he started getting into the first team squad. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I think Shaw he's shown enough now that definitely this movement is a lot better. I think this season, he looks a little bit sharper. He looks sort of more suited to senior football, I think is the best way to put it. I still think that physically he probably needs to mature a little bit, but that'll come with playing games as well. It's just like everything else. It just it relies on first team experience.
It'll happen over a pre-season. It happened with obviously McGinn. I think it was McGinn's second season. It just came back and it developed into a tank in the space of 6 weeks. So
and that's just it. And it's like we say, as long as he stays in the side and he keeps scoring goals, it gives Neil Lennon and Gary Parker a selection headache that I'm sure they'd be delighted with. It's talked about how important it was for us to get back Florian Kamberi and Jamie McLaren, but Oli Shaw starting from the start of this season rather than wait until October, November when he sort of broke into the side last campaign. That's 2 goals already. In his first 2 games, you'd be looking at him now thinking, does he have a chance of getting into double figures this season, and do we take it from there?
Yep, and so that was. I'm struggling to think of many clear-cut chances after that goal. Mallon had a sort of 30-yard daisy cutter that was comfortably saved. Boyle has a shot that's deflected wide. Hibs then make the double change. Kamberi and Morgan come on for Hyman and McLaren. Davidson has a chance from a corner where Hibs kind of fall asleep at a short corner, but around about the 70-minute mark it just became a bit sloppy from both teams. I think we said that it became tetchy and edgy on Thursday, whereas maybe the quality just dipped a little. There was a lot of slack passes from the midfield and both sides. Yeah,
it felt really like one side with their minds elsewhere, and another who were probably quite happy with the point at this stage. I think a lot of the chat leading up to this game, St Johnstone haven't really been at the forefront of it. It's all about Hibs fans looking forward to Malden and looking forward to seeing what we can do away and having that opportunity to progress in Europe. This game was sort of a little bit overlooked, and we still had to come up here and put in a performance. We still had to come up here and fight to get a point, which is fair enough for us to go and do that. But I think from a St Johnstone point of view, given how, and in fairness, I'm only seeing back from the highlights how poorly they played against Kilmarnock, an impressive performance here in winning a point against this Hibs team will do Tommy Wright no harm.
Yeah, I think in the last 20 minutes there's probably only a few talking points. The handball from Effie Ambrose, Tommy Wright went ballistic, the fans are outdoes and the home end were going nuts. Effie it looks like he almost heads it off his arm, but he just kind of miscues it, but he's got absolutely nobody near him. And if it was in the St Johnstone box, I'd probably be screaming for a penalty.
Yeah, it's one of those where if it goes against your team you're devastated and it's the worst decision ever, but if it goes for you it's a great shout by the officials. From a completely biased point of view, definitely wasn't a penalty, and there was clearly an offside in the build-up to that corner kick that got swung in. It looked like the ball actually might have gone out of play as well. There's conditions weren't great. I suppose from our point of view, or from that point of view, if Effie Ambrose has headed it onto his own arm, it's not an awful lot you can do about that, to be honest. He still has to jump, but at the same time, I've been frustrated when things like that have been given for Hibs before, so I can understand Tommy Wright's anger. I think given the decisions that were made for both sides today, it's perhaps not a surprise that it wasn't given. It's probably the kindest way to say it. There's some fairly inconsistent refereeing today. It wasn't the best, but from a completely biased and completely selfish point of view, I'll take it. And then the final big moment, a lot of blocked shots and half chances from corners, but the Ryan Porteous in the last minute
we like talking about Ryan Porteous.
Yeah.
We love that he loves a slide tackle, and that might have been the pick of the bunch so far in his short Hibs career.
I mean, I don't know who it was that he went through. Was it McMillan who came on?
Not sure, I couldn't tell you.
No idea, but I imagine they're going to be thinking about that for a while.
I think they're just plucking him off the top of the stand now, which is where he landed. Yeah.
It reminded me a lot, if you remember his tackle in Lewis Stevenson's testimonial, you know, the friendly match where he goes right through Lee Cattermole. It was a bit like that. I mean, it was a good tackle. He won the ball.
Yeah.
Despite the ire of the St Johnstone fans, he did win the ball, and it was just, you know, a good, solid challenge, very solid challenge. But you know, fair play. It's quite fun to watch Ryan Porteous do things like that and just smash into people. At the moment, you know, that could come back to bite us at some point. But yeah, fair play to him. Brilliant tackle. Had another very, very good game today. He missed one. I think there was one ball that gets put in the box, and he jumps a little bit early and mistimes his header slightly. Apart from that, I can have no complaints. I thought he looked very solid and very good up against another Premiership side.
He's so assured, and
yeah,
for somebody that age, and with probably will even have made double figures in league starts for Hibs yet.
I mean, it must be very close. Yeah, but it can't be.
When the ball's up in the air, and it doesn't matter who the striker is, you feel really comfortable that he's going to win that header, he's going to win that challenge. And we have had the golden generation and Stephen Fletcher and all these guys come through. This is the first defender that we've had, and you go, this guy really looks the business. Yeah,
it's odd in the way. We were talking about Oli Shaw, and we're talking about maybe how he lacks a little bit of physicality, and if you take that back to the players who've come through the academy previously, you know, the likes of Stephen Fletcher, when he first broke through, it was the same thing. It was, well, you know, does he look a little bit lightweight? Does he look a little bit or does he, is he capable of coping with the physicality of the Scottish game? Even guys like Derek Riordan and Gary O'Connor, when they first broke through, admittedly O'Connor does work on his physicality. Riordan's probably not the same type of player. There hasn't really been anybody who've come through where you're just like, God, he's an absolute machine. Porteous is really the first one. He looks like he can already fill the boots of whoever is the first of that defence to leave, which is a brilliant sign. And again, with first team experience, with match experience in the Premiership and in Europe, and in the cup competitions, he's only going to get better, and that's only going to be better for us.
Yep. So we're 8 games into the season in terms of competitive matches,
which is mad. It's not even midway through August,
and we're unbeaten. Which is, well, but we're still we can't bring league tables into it, but I'm going to, because we're second in the league. We'll ignore who's top, but I just find it hard to see Hibs leaving maybe that top 3 or 4 spots in the league, maybe unless we really do progress in Europe quite far into the contest.
Yeah, and obviously our march on Baku is going to affect our league form, but no, I mean, for the message from Neil Lennon will just be keep going. Obviously, I think we saw today the first signs of tiredness really kind of creeping into our league campaign. I suppose it was similar last week against Motherwell. The last 15 minutes we kind of just basically ground to a halt, and we're quite happy to just pass the ball around. Today, we talked about the likes of Stevenson and Hanlon, probably looked like a little bit tired, but that's understandable given the amount of games they've already played. The need for possibly 1 or 2 more bodies through the door is, probably understandable. But yeah, we look like we're approaching the kind of side that we were last season. And again, as the season progresses, hopefully that will only get better.
And now we can hear from Oli Shaw speaking after the game.
Oli, I keep saying to you that you get the start, you score a goal, you've given the manager another headache again.
Yeah, no, that's what I've got to do. Obviously the gaffer puts faith in me and plays from the start. Obviously we've got big European games coming up, so it's using the squad and making sure everybody's fit and things like that. So to get given the opportunity today and then to get another goal, I'm happy with that.
1-1, Ryan thought it was probably a fair reflection on the outcome. Yourself, what did you think?
for me, I think first half we've had a few decent chances that we could maybe put to bed, but it's one of these games where we kept plugging away. We eventually got our goal, and we can't fault the effort for the boys. We all kept going, we kept trying things, and just one of those days that maybe a point was deserved, what it was deserved, but we're a bit disappointed out there because we feel 2 points maybe will drop for a 1 point game.
Having gone in at half time a goal behind, it was a good time to get back on level terms. The goal I thought was a cracking goal. Striker's instinct, ball played in by Martin Boyle into a difficult area. From your point of view, you weren't hanging about, you got in between the defender and the keeper.
Yeah, I know we spoke at half time obviously to get the ball wide to Boyle because he was causing the full-back problems, so, and I was told to get in the box, in the 6 yard box, and that's what happens. Obviously as a striker you want to be in that 6 yard box, and the ball's came into a perfect position. Great ball from Boyle, and I'm there to just tap it in.
A bit of a frustration that having got back on level terms, we had a few chances again after that, just couldn't take them. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, sometimes happens, yeah, but we feel obviously, as I said before, it's 2 points dropped rather than 1 point gained, and we had a few scrappy chances, and Roscoe's pulled off a couple of good saves. That's really all he's had to do, and yeah, we'll take the point, but obviously we're disappointed that we didn't get to take all 3 things.
And now we move on to a game on Thursday night in Norway against Molde. It's going to be a tough one. We know what we've got to do though. If we can score over there, there's a real chance that we could get to the final qualifying round.
Yeah, definitely. All the boys in there are confident. After seeing the first game, we're all confident that we can go over there and get a result. Obviously the fans will sure travel over and give us a big backing and support, so we want to do it for them as well as ourselves, and hopefully get into the next round. Yeah.
Might be a slightly different game over there though, because as the home side there'll be more of an onus on them to open out, and that might suit us if we can catch them on the break.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously we've got the pace to burn up in the wide areas, and the strikers as well. We've got a counter-attacking team, we can play that way, so we'll see how they set up. We'll look at them later on in the week, but we'll enjoy the occasion, and hopefully we'll come back in the next round.
So a first glimpse of Darryl Horgan today, who joined the club yesterday. What were your impressions on his performance?
Sort of looked sharp out there, and I was speaking to him early on. He's a really nice guy, and he looked sharp out there, and he looks like he'll be a real asset to the team, so it's a good signing, and hopefully he settles in now.
And now we can finally kind of get back to talking about Europa League.
Yeah.
We're kind of twitching not being able to talk about European competition for 15 minutes. At the time of us speaking, it's 26 minutes into Molde v Brann. Molde are 3-0 up. Haaland is playing. He's scored a penalty in the opening couple of minutes. Nobody's really sure what's happened there, whether he's signed for if he's signed for Salzburg and gone back on loan, we think he's ineligible because the paperwork wouldn't have been done and all that stuff to play. So they're 3-0 up within half an hour, so it shows what a hell of a contest we've got coming up this week.
Yeah, I believe early in the season when Molde went to Brann, Haaland was playing and he scored 4 goals in 26 minutes, and I think Brann were unbeaten at home at that point, and Molde annihilated them 4-0. So it obviously shows that he brings something else to the team. I believe the third in the league at the moment.
Brann are top of the league.
Brann are top. So that's obviously pretty impressive from a Molde point of view. Again, from a completely selfish and biased point of view, hopefully Brann make a bit of a game of it later on and force them to run a little bit, and force them to work a little bit harder. In that game, possibly with the effect that it makes them a little bit more tired on Thursday. I mean, we can't bank on that. But yeah, it obviously shows kind of how important he is to them. If he is ineligible to play, that's makes things or it almost evens things up in terms of losing influential players for both sides. So it's going to be a difficult game over there on Thursday. I don't think anybody is doubting that. But we went over to Astoras and we dug in and we got a result. We dug in and get the same performance and the same result this time. We're through again, and that'll be the message that Neil Lennon will be relaying to his players is just go out there and do exactly what you did last time.
And now here's the post-match thoughts of Ryan Porteous talking to Cliff Pike.
Ryan, McDermott Park, always a tough place to come. A 1-1 draw, fair reflection on the game, do you think?
Aye, probably. I mean, in the first half we tried to walk the ball in the net. We had a good few chances. Jamie's one, was it in, was it not? I'm not 100% sure, but it's a disappointing result overall. I thought we'd done enough to win the game, but as I said, we're trying to walk the ball in the net, and we put some great balls into the box. In the first half, Martin was on absolute fire, and we just kept giving him the ball. He was getting into great positions, we just couldn't get the ball in the net. But at the end of the day, it probably was a fair reflection, and St Johnstone deserved something from the game.
Up until they scored, I thought we were the better side. Unfortunately, the goalie got a deflection. Who did it go in off?
I'm not 100% sure. nah, it came in off me, but it was one of the ones where I think Stevie could have cleared it, but it came in at an awkward angle for him, so he struggled to get that clear. And then after, it's one of the ones that can happen if they have enough. But that happens in football, and I think we reacted quite well to it. We had a good few chances after, with loads of set plays, and we couldn't get on the end of them. Stevie was putting great balls in, but probably just one of the days where we couldn't find the net. But all he does brilliant to get his goal. I said to him at half time, I was like, get in the 6-yard box, that's what you're good at. And he done that, and he went and got his goal, so delighted for him.
It was a great ball in as well. It was right between the goalkeeper and the defender, but Ollie was in the right place. Good striker's instinct.
Definitely, he's got that. I said to you the other week that he always scores goals. He's one of those strikers that he might be in, he might be out of the game, but he will 100% score a goal, so he's done that again for us.
It's just unfortunate that, again, once we scored, again we looked the better side, but on another day we possibly could have gone on to win it. Just wasn't our day.
Aye, definitely. As I said before, we did try and walk the ball in the net at times instead of just shooting, but we had a good few chances. Their keeper made a couple of decent saves, but they defended quite well as well. But I think we're all disappointed not get the 3 points, but that's just because we want to win every game. Difficult
conditions out there today. We've all been used to blazing sunshine. All of a sudden we've got wind and rain. It's like the old Scottish summer again. Difficult to adapt to it again?
We're all used to it. We knew when we woke up this morning that it was going to be a difficult task condition wise, so now we all got the right footwear on. I don't think anyone was really fazed by that.
I think the game to look forward to on Thursday night, hopefully everybody came through. There are no real knocks, bumps or bruises or anything that you're aware of?
No, I'm not 100% sure, but I think everyone's okay. Hopefully, fingers crossed anyway. We've got obviously Dave and that to come back in, so you want to say it's a good point, but we really wanted to get this 3 today.
Move on to Molde on Thursday night. We know what we've got to do across there. We need to score, but if we can get an away goal, a lot of pressure on them.
Aye, definitely. That if we go there and avoid defeat, we go through. So we've just got to go over there with a positive mindset and try and win the game.
So that'll do us for this week's episode. Extended highlights from Sunday's match are now available, with the rest of this season's games as well as a huge archive of other classic matches all on Hibs TV. Next up for us is the tie in Molde on Thursday, and a massive good luck to the side travelling over for it. Until next time, my thanks to James Delaney as always for joining me. Thank you for listening, and join us next time on The Final Whistle.